Suite. Invite all of their, not all of their loved ones, the loved one who is tasked with giving their talit to please come up. And they will each say their own bracha, their own blessing quietly, and have a quiet moment with their special person. Please turn to page 292 in your blue Siddur, your blue prayer book. 292.
I just wanted to let everybody know that if you are looking for a recording of this afterwards, it will not be available on YouTube. We're having technical difficulties, but we are recording it on Zoom, and so the video can be made available.
Page 292.
Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata bi Tehorahi. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata bi Tehorahi. Ata berata, ata yitzarta, ata nefachta bi, ve'ata meshamra, meshamra b'kirbi. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata bi Tehorahi.
The soul that you have given me, O God, is pure. You created and formed it, breathed it into me, and within me you sustain it. So long as I have breath, therefore I will give thanks to you, my God and the God of all ages, source of all being, loving guide of every human spirit. Baruch atah Adonai, asher biado nefesh kol chai, beruach kol basar ish. Please turn to page 296 as we recite the blessing for Torah study together, which is the La'asok b'divrei Torah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot and commands us to engage with words of Torah, which we will now hear from our first Torah teacher of the morning, Susan Postal Sweet.
Korach is normally read in June. However, due to the pandemic, our Torah portion and Benot Mitzvah was decided to be read today. Korach is our Torah portion. Korach is the name of one of the main characters in this story. His name means rebellion, which is fitting. There have been other rebellions, situations in the Torah. However, none with Moses as great as this. Here is the story of Korah and Moses. In the previous Parsha, a man was punished with death when the Sabbath was broken. They said, quote, "You have gone too far." However, Moses was just the messenger of God. And God was the power. Korah wanted the power for himself. As Rabbi Sachs says about Moses, he was a good servant. Korah, that is not what Korah wanted. Korah wanted to be the most powerful. Previously, in Parshat Behalotcha, Rabbi Sachs discusses the difference between power and influence. In this article, Rabbi Sachs teaches that the power is reduced when shared, while influence is increased when shared with others. Moses had influence and God was the power. The power is what God wanted, and the power, is what Korah wanted in his arrogance. While Moses was thinking about the Jewish people, Korah was only thinking about himself. Because of that, he misunderstood what Moses' relationship to God actually was, which was a humble messenger. The Torah has taught me, and I have learned a lot about arguing and disputing. Some arguments are helpful, while others are just for the sake of argument. I have seen this in my life. When I came to Temple Sinai, it made me start thinking about my life and the things I have lost. Since I am rebellious, I am fighting to get back all that I feel I missed. I was told that I couldn't have a bat mitzvah service because the temple we belonged to was Orthodox. After my last grandparent died, my mother, my mother stopped keeping kosher and lighting candles. Therefore, I have lost so much of the richness of Judaism. In my fight to reclaim what I can, after listening to Rabbi Aviva every week, I started lighting candles and attending services weekly. Therefore, I have learned that you can be rebellious for a positive cause. Korach's rebellion was out of arrogance because he wanted to be as powerful as he thought Moses was or perceived to be Moses to be. It is my hope that my reclaiming of my Jewish heritage helps me become a better Jew. Thank you to my family, my Bima buddies. Especially, I want to remember Debbie Santa Marita of blessed memory, whose excitement and spirit edged me on and remains with me until this day. Thank you, Rabbi Aviva and Cantor Dan and Dr. David. I would also like to thank Helene for her assistance, help, and support. She is a blessing to all of us. Jay, my husband, has helped me study, even pushed me to study when necessary, and drove me to the temple when needed. He supports me in my life, and I could not be more grateful. Jay, you are the love of my life. Thank you, Andrew, for being my son and for supporting me in reaching this achievement. Susan Poincher is truly a family member. I would like to thank her for her love and support. I would like to thank my dear friend Daphne for joining me in this Simcha celebration and traveling from Texas to be with me this weekend. Lastly, thank you to Temple Sinai, and thank you all for coming today. Shabbat Shalom.
Yesher Koach, beautifully done. I think we all learned a lot from your words and are inspired by you, Susan. I want to remind everyone to please make sure that your cell phone is on silent, please, because it's very distracting in the middle of a sermon. These women have worked so hard, and we don't want to throw them off, so please make sure. You don't want to be that person that everyone looks at, okay? Please turn it off. That's the sound, anyway. Thank you. We turn to page 312 as we continue with Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'amal divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chayei b'chol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'yagala ובזמן קריב ימרו.
Amen.
יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח, יתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל, שמי קודשה בריחו, לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן ועלמה, וימרו.
Those who are able to do so, please rise for the Baruch Hu, the call to worship on page 313, 313.
Yai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, 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 yai dai 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 dai, yai dai, yai dai dai, yai dai dai, yai dai, yai dai dai dai. Yai dai 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 dai, yai dai, yai dai dai, yai dai dai, yai dai, yai dai dai dai. Barechu et Adonai amevorach. Barechu et Adonai amevorach. Baruch Adonai המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. יאי די די, יאי די די די, יאי די די, יאי די די די.
Please be seated as we turn to page 314, 314.
Restoring the soul, rejoicing the heart, bringing light to the darkness, more welcome than gold, the Torah from heaven. I have no right to give the morning. My Torah, my special human gift, is words. As I bring my words forth from silence, welcome you the sun.
Guide for all. You have spoken in 1,000 tongues for us to hear, in every land and every age. Your children have heard you and imagined you in separate ways, and yet, O God, you are one unifier of humanity. We give thanks for the sages and teachers who bring us understanding of your will. Gratefully, we recall the lawgivers and prophets,
The psalmists and sages of Israel, and joyfully we remember that from the dawn of Israel's life, we would turn to you and find purpose.
May the teachings of our ancestors live on in our minds, and their passion for righteousness stir our hearts. Help us to live so that our daily conduct reveals the beauty and wisdom of your truth. Baruch atah Adonai, Aboker B'Emo Yisrael Ba'ava.
Amen. We turn to page 318, and those who are able to do so, please rise for the Shema.
שמו יחדיו, לך אדוני הגדולה והנבואה.
ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
You may be seated as we turn to page 319 and chant the Ve'ahavta together.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך
ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Emet, the last word Rabbi said in prayer. Emet, truth. In Webster's dictionary, it can be something that is in accordance with fact and reality. In Hebrew, the three letters that spell emet are Aleph, Mem, and Taf. Interestingly, Aleph is the first letter of the word, the first letter in the Hebrew alphabet. Mem is one of the two middle letters and is the center of the word. And Taf, the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, ends the word. It indicates to me that truth is all-encompassing, not only in the alphabet, but in our lives as Jews. The last words, Adonai Elohechem Emet, can be translated as Adonai is our true God. This word, Emet, is found often in our liturgy. Truth, Emet, is, however, a word that appears only 5 times in our Torah. The first time it appears is in the first book of Torah, Bereshit. It first appears in the Parsha Chaye Sarah, the life of Sarah. It tells the story of Abraham's servant, Ezekiel, going to the local well, now known as Rebekah's well, to seek a true bride for Isaac. Perhaps today we would call it Bashert. One meaning of the word truth. The truth does not appear in the 10 Commandments. The closest it comes in meaning is to being truthful is the exhortation, thou shalt not bear false witness. I find this to be central to my belief and practice of my faith. Living my faith is not always easy, but I give it my best. I still question if there is a difference between a whopper or of a lie or a really little white lie. They are both not truth. Is it a lie if I lie to spare someone hurt or needless pain? Or am I being overly compassionate and ignoring what I have been taught to be the way to live in and with truth? According to Rashi, considered to be the foremost medieval commentator on the Torah, God is found and his word is found wherever there is truth, and the absence of God is where there is falsehood. The prophet Jeremiah in the book of prophets says, the Lord God is truth. We question the need for truth always, as I recall the stories of the disciples of Hillel discussing the need for absolute truth, if it means hurting someone. As an example, telling a bride she's not looking so good on the day she is the most beautiful, the most special day of her life, her wedding day. I take it all to mean that we must be truthful in all our doings, personal and business. The question is, if a white lie is told in compassion, is it really considered an untruth? We tend to go with the ideas of Hillel that a little white lie, if told in compassion, is acceptable. We are always bound to be truthful in compliance with the teachings of the sages, but there are ways to circumvent it. I found that when someone asks me what I think of something, I often say I am speechless. There are no words to describe it. Yes, skirting the issue, but not wanting to insult or hurt someone. We can only do our best in every given situation. I really do try. I am excited to become a bat mitzvah today, become a true daughter of the mitzvot. Coming from an Orthodox family, it was never an occasion fit for a female. The very first time I held a Torah and touched the parchment, I cried. I felt so honored. I still feel that extra pang today when I touch the Torah, an experience I had been denied for so many years. Today is the day this dream has come true. I thank those of my family and friends who are here in person or on Zoom for being with me, as well as the creator of Zoom, who has made studying for this occasion much more doable. Those all over the country and my fellow graduates of the Yeshiva of Flatbush in Brooklyn, now living in Israel, who are sharing this time with me. I thank Rabbi Aviva for her graciousness, expertise, and enthusiasm, without which this day of becoming a bat mitzvah just wouldn't have happened. Thank you to student cantor Dan for his inspirational musicality, Helene Wortel, our most resourceful librarian, Betty Adams and Lynn Weinstein, our co-presidents. Lynn, you are the epitome of the saying, if you want to get something done, ask a busy person and it will get done. Maybe one day you will be able to sit and relax. And to Seth Dinsky for the printing and reprinting of so much. I thank my husband, Larry, for listening to me, urging me to continue when I really wanted to quit, and being my personal IT, since I'm not that good with the computer. I also thank all of my Bima buddies. Without their caring and support, which was so needed in different ways on different days. Shabbat Shalom. I forgot my friend.
Okay, please read with me responsively on page 320. Adonai spoke to Moses saying, "Speak to the Israelites and tell them that each generation shall form a fringe on the corner of their clothes and place a blue cord on the corner fringe. When this fringe catches your eye, you will remember all the mitzvot of the Eternal and do them and not follow after your heart and your eyes, which draw you astray, that you may remember and do all my mitzvot and be consecrated to your God. I am Adonai, who bore you up from the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai, your God."
Sing the song of men and women, joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, and earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
Please turn to page 322 for Mi Chamocha.
Yai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai dai, dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai dai. Mi chamocha va'eli Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. No ratehilo dosei pele. No ratehilo dosei pele. Shira chadasha shirechu geulim l'shimcha tzvat hayam. Yachad kulam hodu vehimlichu ve'amiru Adonai yimlo le'olam va'ed. Adonai yimlo le'olam va'ed. Zur Yisrael, Uma Bezrat Yisrael, Ufetechinu Mecha, Yehuda beYisrael. Go Aleinu, Adonai Tzevaot Shemo, Gedosh Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael.
Amen. We rise now for tefillah on page 323. 323.
Adonai sefatai tiftahu fi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah. Ha'el hagadol hagibor v'hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel chasadim tovim, Vekonei hakol, Vezocher chastei avot v'imahot, Umevi geula livnei bneihem, Leman shemo be'ahava. Melech ozer umoshia umagen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham Bezrat Sarah. Atah gibor leolam Adonai, Mechaye hakol atah Rab lehoshia, Mashiv haruach umorid hagashem. Mechalkel chaim v'chesed, Mechaye hakol v'rachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofech olim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha bal geburot, Umido melach, Melech memit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman nata lehachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol. מקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, כך כתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר, אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו, מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור. הללויה.
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור
דור
ודור,
נגיד גודלך.
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך.
ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו, מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם לעולם ועד. לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Please take a few moments for silent prayer and reflection, and please be seated when you are done with your own silent prayers.
Say Adonai Eloheinu Me'amecha Yisrael U'tefilatam me'ahava tikabel U'tehi meratzon Tamid avodat Yisrael Yisrael Amecha El Karov Lechol Koreal V'nei Elavadecha V'chonenu Shifach Ruchacha Aleinu V'techezena Einenu Neshuvecha leTzion Berachamim Baruch atah Adonai HaMachazir Shechinato LeTzion LeTzion
We now come to the Torah service, and this is the moment that each of you has been working so hard for and waiting for. When each of these women are called to the Torah, they're all going to be reading Torah, which is fabulous. But when they are called to the Torah by their Hebrew name, and they say the blessing before and after the Torah reading, that is what actually makes them each a bat mitzvah. So I will let you know when that moment is going to arrive for each of them. But for now, we turn to page 362, and we rise as the ark is opened for the Torah service.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai ve'ein kemasecha Malechutecha malchut kol olamim umemshaltecha bechol dor v'dor Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai imloch leolam vahed Adonai oz le'amo yitain Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom Av harachamim heitiv v'ritzonecha et Zion tivnei chomot Yerushalayim tivnei chomot Yerushalayim ki פתחנו מלך אל רם ונישא אדון עולמים. כי מציון תצא תורה, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני בירושלים. ברוך שנתן תורה, תורה. ברוך שנתן תורה, תורה. לעמו ישראל מקדושתו.
This is our most sacred object as Jews and the Jewish people. This Torah scroll has been passed down in our tradition from God to Moses on Mount Sinai, then Moses to Joshua, to the elders of our people, and all the way down the generations until today. And it is my honor and blessing to be able to pass it now to these women who take it into their hearts. And we all sing Shema together.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Gadlu Adonai iti, unerom ema shemo yachdav. Adonai hagidula ve'agifura ve'hatiferet ve'anetzach ve'hahod ki chol bashamayim uvaretz ki chol bashamayim uvaretz.
When you choose a date for a bar or bat mitzvah, you are given the Torah portion that will be read that day and assigned the part you will be studying. We studied Parshat Korach, planning on a June Benot Mitzvah service. Well, as you know, COVID interfered with the date. So Korach became a November Parsha for this occasion. There are many interesting parts in this portion, but a couple of verses in particular relate to my life and questions that have been unanswered. Korach started a revolt against Moses, questioning his being chosen by God as the leader of the Israelites. One of the punishments God inflicted on the uprisers was opening the earth and letting thousands fall through to Sheol. The verses read, "And the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up with their households, all Korach's people and all their possessions. They went down alive into Sheol with all that belonged to them." I've seen this place, Sheol, referenced in the Tanakh, but never took the time to investigate its meaning. What and where is Sheol? This question bothered me because I believe in some sort of life after death, and this place, Sheol, was not in my belief. I never heard of it. Is it hell? Is it purgatory? Did these people suffer terribly for their misdeeds? I've heard more about hell and purgatory from other religions than from Judaism. What do we as a people believe? First of all, when the Torah speaks of Sheol, it refers to a place, probably a physical place, somewhere below us. So let's call that the center of the earth. The number of references in the Tanakh, along with archaeological evidence and comparative literature, suggest a widespread belief in some sort of dark and dreaded, shadowy post-mortem existence. There is not one definitive understanding of life after death or of heaven and hell. Judaism does not really care what you believe, but rather what you do. But I need a definitive answer, one I can accept and believe in. Rabbi Chaim Ibn Alter, an 18th century Moroccan Kabbalist, pointed out that the Torah begins with the Hebrew letter bet, which is the number 2. And it is hinted that God actually created 2 worlds, the physical world and the world to come. After reading that, I was a little leery, thinking he was referring to Sheol, but no, he was referring to Olam Haba, the world to come, not Sheol. Kabbalistic thought is that Sheol is a stopping place that everyone passes through and where everyone is judged. Later Jewish mystical tradition expanded on this notion and described something more complex, like a stopover where some souls ascend straight to the Garden of Eden, some have a layover while they work through life's trials and tribulations, and some, the truly evil, are disposed of into a cosmic evil trash heap. The Pharisees, forerunners of the rabbis, were the first to have the notion of a spiritual life after death. They thought that there would be an end of time ushered in by the Messiah when bodily resurrection would occur. Olam Haba, the world to come, as described by Maimonides in the Mishnah Torah, is the hidden good in store for the righteous, and a life connected with no death, and a kind of good connected with no evil. I recently read a book by Rabbi Abraham Plotkin, who is an Orthodox rabbi living in Canada. This book, 7 Conversations with Jerry, is presented in a conversational format. It helps you connect in your own personal way. His stories are relative to events that take place in all our lives. We have all lost someone close and very meaningful to us. How do we, or how can we remember them? Some of us feel that person is always nearby. Some of us talk to them and look for advice. Others of us do not choose to believe this way. Rabbi Plotkin believes and teaches that our souls continue on after death. I've lost some very important people in my life. This weekend is the yahrzeit for both my husband and my sister. My husband, Walter, is always with me. I feel his spirit and I hear his thoughts, and I especially feel him here with me today. My sister, Eileen, she constantly talks to me. She never was silent even in life, and she's not silent now. I can hear her telling me how to play a mahjong hand and arguing about canasta rules, and she listens to all my tales of woe. She always did. We were close. We were great friends as well as sisters, and we still are. So I believe in an existence after death, and I believe when I join my loved ones, we will remember each other and continue on in the afterlife. I need these beliefs to continue my life's journeys. My beliefs are a good part of the reason I seek further knowledge of Torah and its teachings. This parsha taught me the necessity of delving into the words in the Torah to understand and relate its words to my own life. I began this journey a few years ago with Rebecca Lipman, to whom I owe a great deal. My intention then was to learn Hebrew. And I worked hard towards that goal. But from Rebecca, I learned there was more to know than just a language. Somewhere along the way, I was drawn back into the faith that had mostly eroded when I lost my husband. And I became more curious about Judaism. I wanted to learn everything. I was truly lucky that Rabbi Aviva was offering another adult mitzvah class, and I jumped right in. And here I am today, having achieved so much more than I ever thought possible at this time in my life. I am blessed to have my closest family and friends with me today. My son, Stuart, means more to me than he could ever understand. And when he placed my talit over my shoulders, my heart burst with love and pride. So many have helped me accomplish this prideful moment. Rabbi Aviva, my mentor, my guide with unending patience, because I have unending questions. Helene Wartell, my teacher, who gave me the joy of reading Hebrew and even understanding some of it, and helped me put the in the kets and cuffs. My classmate Donna, who put the finishing touches on my speaking the language. Cantor Dan, who has provided support and promised to catch me if I faint. Lynn Weinstein, who has shared her depth of knowledge and been a good friend. And others like Sandy Lehner and my dear friends Doreen and Kathy are always there for me. And most importantly, my classmates, my Bima buddies, who have been my backbone in this joyous journey. Thank you all for bringing me to this day. Shabbat Shalom.
And now, Lador Vador, we pass the Torah through the generations.
We are gifts and we are blessings. We are his story in song. We are hope and we are healing. We are learning to be strong. We are words and we are stories. We are pictures of a past. We are carriers of wisdom, not the first and not the last. Lidor vador nagid god lecha. Lidor vador we protect this chain. From generation to generation, Lidor vador, these lips will praise your name. Looking back on the journey that we carry in our hearts, from the shadow of the mountain to the waters that will part. We are blessed and we are holy. We are children of your way. And the words that bring us meaning, we will have the strength to say. Lidor vador nagin golecha. Lidor vador, we protect this chain. From generation to generation. Lidor vador, these lips will praise your name.
Okay, this is the moment that we've been waiting for each of these women. After each of them is called to the Torah by their Hebrew name and says the blessings before and after the Torah reading, each becomes a bat mitzvah. Ta'amod, 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 ita bat zalmen v'freda, li'alei harishon.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Habarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'chabanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Amen. Vayichach Korach ben Yitzhar ben Kehat ben Levi Vidatan va'Aviram Banei Eliav Beno ben Pelet Banei Rehuven Vayakumu lifnei Moshe Va'anashim mibonei Yisrael Hamishim Umatayim Nisi'ei Eda Kri'ei Moed Anshe Shem Vayihalu al Moshe ve'al Aharon Vayamru alehem Rav lahem ki hohahida hulam kedoshim uftoham Adonai umatzua titnasu al kahal Adonai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tokenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen.
Wonderful. Now Ellen is a bat mitzvah. This is when I normally say with my kid students, I say, oh, don't they look older? I am not gonna say that today. Come
Oh,
on
don't
close
they
to the
look
Torah.
younger?
Yes, exactly.
Amazing job.
I forgot to mention, if you would like to follow along in the Hebrew or to read the English, we're not going to give the translations aloud, but you can read the English on pages, get out the maroon plout, which is the Chumash, the book of the Torah, and you can read it on pages 1127 to 1128. Remember, this is Parshat Korach. It's in Numbers, not in Genesis, where we really are at this time of the year. Pages 1127 to 1128. Okay. Talmud, Talmud, Talmud. Ita Yita bat Chaya Leah v'Shlomo bat Hamitzvah li'aliyah hasheni.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bakar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayishma Moshe Vayipol al panav Vaydaber el Korach ve'el kol adato lemor boker ve'yoda Adonai et ashelo Va'ed hakadosh vehikri ve'elav va'ed asher yifhar bo yakriv elav zot asu kerolachem maktot korak veholadato utnu vahen Eish vasimu alehen ketoret lifnei Adonai maha v'haya ha'ish asher yivhar Adonai hu hakadosh rav lachem b'nei Levi. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Yishar Koach, that was beautiful. And now Andy is a bat mitzvah. Doesn't she look younger? Okay, well, this is a moment of sadness amidst our joy. We always seem to do that as a Jewish people. We began this process of study 2 years ago with 7 of these women. And unfortunately, one of them has passed to Olam Haba, as Sue had explained to us, and that is Debbie Stevens Santa Romita, Zichrona Livracha. And she was working very hard to learn all the skills necessary for the service, and she had come a very long way. When she first began, she told me that she wanted to learn Hebrew, but that she thought of herself as what she called hopeless and unable to learn. But with the help of Helene Wortel and Sandy Lehner, as well as her fellow students, Jane Brown and Donna Lopater, Debbie was making great progress. She was even starting to learn her Torah portion. And unfortunately, she can't be here to read it. Her absence has been keenly felt. Debbie was kind, caring, tenacious, stubborn, strong, and courageous, and went one step beyond the expected for everyone. And we miss her a lot. And so it is in her memory that I will try to give honor to the portion she was to read of the Torah. And if you'll call me up.
Ta'amod harava biva baya bat chaim Hershel Yehudit le'aliyah haTorah.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach leolam va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Vayomer Moshe el Korach Shim'una b'nei Levi, hama'at mikem, ki hivdil Elohei Yisrael echem, me'adat Yisrael, lehakriv echem elav, la'avod, et avodat Mishkan Adonai, ולעמוד לפני העדה לשרתם, ויקרב אותך ואת כל אחיך בני לוי איתך, ובקשתם גם כהונה, לכן אתה בכל עדתך הנועדים על אדוני, ואהרון מהו, כי תלינו עליו. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah. Amen. And you better not say I
And
look
doesn't
any
she
older.
look younger?
And I didn't become a bat mitzvah today. Okay, so we have a wonderful one of our Benot Mitzvah, Susan Postal Sweet, who will now read from below, but we don't want her to be lonely with the Torah. We're going to go down with her. Then I'm going to call her by her Hebrew name first. Talmud, Surah, Fegel, Bat Rivka, Liba, Vedov, Bat HaMitzvah, Lialiyah HaRivi'i. Duplicated everything for down there, sorry. Okay, the blessings. Okay. Here we go.
Baruch atah
Baruch,
Adonai. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaBarak Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Vayishlach Moshe likro l'Datan ve'la'Aviram b'nei Eliyav ve'amruhu lo na'aleh l'dat Hama'at ki ha'elitanu me'eret zavat halav udvash lahamitenu bamidbar ki tistarer halenu gam tistarer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher bachar banu mikdorat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
This young lady broke her pelvis just a few weeks ago, and she's been recovering and on pain meds and probably is on some to be here, but we're so grateful to have you. And you did a fantastic job. Mazel tov.
And just like we say at the end of a book of Torah, we say, Chazak, Chazak, V'nid Chazek. May you go from strength to strength and back to strength again.
Now, when you get called to Torah, you have the opportunity to change your Hebrew name or to add a Hebrew name. And so the next person who's coming up, Sue Wexler, decided to add a Hebrew name. So I'm going to call her by her new Hebrew name, which will now be known as Ta'amud Shoshana Sela Bat Hana V'Yitzchak Li'aliyah HaChamisha Bat HaMitzvah. Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Ba'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Ba'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Ha'olam Asher Baka Banu Mikol Ha'amin Benatan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Amen. Amen. Vayikol Moshe me'od, vayomer el Adonai, al tefen el minkatam, lo chamor echad mehem nasati, velo hareoti et achad mehem. Vayomer Moshe el Korach ata v'kol adateka heyu lifnei Adonai ata vahem v'aharon makah ukhu ish maktato untatem alehem ketoret vahikravtem lifnei Adonai ish maktato chamishim umatayim maktot va'ata va'aharon ish maktato. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'kayei olam nata b'tokenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yesha koach. Yesha koach. And Sue is a bat mitzvah. Ta'amud, ta'amud, ta'amud. Yehudit bat David v'Devorah bat hamitzvah li'aliyah hashishi.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamavarach.
Baruch Adonai habarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamavarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Vayikhu ish maktato, vayitnu alehem eish, vayosimu alehem ketorat, vayamdu petach ohel moed, uMoshe ve'Aharon, vayakel alehem Korach et kol ha'edah el petach ohel moed vayar kivod Adonai el kol ha'edah vadaber Adonai el Moshe v'el Aharon lemor hibadlu mitoch ha'edah hazot va'achale otam kiraga. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Tekoa, and you have become a bat mitzvah dream. Wonderful. And last but certainly not least, we have Donna. Ta'amud, ta'amud, ta'amud. Devora Fredel, bat Sviva Leah, Leah Hashvi'i.
Baruch et Adonai Habarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Ba'ed.
Baruch Adonai Habarach Le'olam Ba'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayiplu al panehem v'yomru el Elohei haruchot v'kol basar ha'ish echad v'chateh al kol ha'edah tiksof. Vayedaber Adonai el Moshe lemor, daber el ha'edah lemor, ha'alu misaviv kimishkan Korach, Datan va'Aviram. Vayakum Moshe Vaylach el Datan Avraham v'yelchu achiram ziknei Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
And now Donna has become a bat mitzvah as well. And I want to give them all of these Bima buddies a bracha. I wanted to give a special mishaberach, a special blessing to them. So I looked high and low for just the right blessing, and I found one in poetry written by a Jew, Bob Dylan. Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah. May the Holy One of Blessing, who blessed all our ancestors, bless all of you who have become Banot Mitzvah today, who have come up because of God, in honor of God, in honor of Torah, and in honor of your commitment to our Judaism. May God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others and let others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars and climb on every rung, and may you stay forever young. May you stay forever young. May you grow up to be righteous. May you grow up to be true. May you always know the truth and see the lights surrounding you. May you always be courageous, stand upright and be strong. And may you stay forever young. May you stay forever young. May your hands always be busy. May your feet always be swift. May you have a strong foundation when the winds of changes shift. May your heart always be joyful. May your song always be sung. And may you stay forever young. May you stay forever young. Kei nehi ratzon, may this be God's will. Yes, amen v'amen. It takes a youthful attitude and mindset to learn a whole new language and a whole new way of doing things, and all of the skills and all of the knowledge that they all have accumulated over this time, not all of which is present here today, but they have really, really learned a tremendous amount. So I'm very, very proud. I'm kvelling. Okay, and so now to one of our teachers who really helped our students this year, really, with their Hebrew, Helene Wortel. I'm going to call her up as our Hadba today to hold up Torah for us, as she has for these wonderful women. And as she raises the Torah scroll high in the air, we rise as well, and we sing V'zot HaTorah.
V'zot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai v'yad Moshe. V'zot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai v'yad Moshe. Yai dai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai ya dai dai, yai dai dai. You should know for healing. Yeah, okay.
We're going to do a Misha Berach for healing now with our Torah scroll here with us. So if you have a name or names of people you are thinking of who are in need of healing of body, mind, or spirit, or of all three, including those who are worshiping from afar, please say those names aloud now.
He didn't start. Brandy Aquafreda.
So for all of those whom we have named and all of those good people around the world who are in need of healing, we sing this healing Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema. the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm the last speech. And it is my pleasure to be with you today. All of my B'not Mitzvah Bima buddies have already told you the story of Korach and what happened, the rebellion. I would like to take a different part of that. I'm going to speak about a lesson in conflict resolution. The Korach rebellion was the single most dangerous challenge to Moses' leadership during the 40 years that he led the Jewish people through the wilderness. Several groups of people felt that they had been passed over and not been given duties of leadership or priestly positions. They were angry, and they wanted to be recognized in those areas much more. Moses proposed a simple test to see who would lead. He told the rebels and Aaron to prepare incense in pans the next day as an offering to God, and then God would signal whose offering he chose. But God had a different plan. And the day after that, Korach and his followers were swallowed into the open earth and gone, as my Bima buddies have told you before, swallowed up into the open earth. The remaining Israelites grumbled against Moses and Aaron, blaming them and saying, "You have killed the Lord's people." They did not trust Moses' actions. Why didn't the death of Korach and his followers not end the conflict? The people were very angry. So now God himself intervenes and tells Moses to take 12 staffs, one for each of the tribes, and put them in the tent of meeting overnight. The next day, the staff of the tribe of Levi on it and Aaron's name on it had sprouted, budded, and blossomed. Now the people believed that only God made this miracle happen with the staff. Then the rebellion ended. Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs tells us that this is profound. The use of force never really ends a conflict. It merely adds grievance and injury. What ended the conflict was the quiet, gentle miracle of the blossoming staff that showed that Aaron was the true emissary of, quote, the God of life, in a verse that the Torah calls the tree of life. Rabbi Sachs states that in Judaism, resolution is not really achieved by force, but by pleasantness, love, and peace. I found this in my life as well. There was a time in my life when I needed to end a conflict and bring in Jewish tradition and kindness. My mother was 100 years old and in a rehab for 2 months because of a leg wound. She was receiving wound care and physical therapy all the time in Hallandale, Florida. I was advised not to let her go back home to her 2-story townhouse and live alone anymore because of her age. I was advised to move her closer to me into an assisted living facility. I knew this was the last thing she wanted. She wanted to be in total control of her own life. So I did all the research and moved her all of her beautiful things that would fit into that apartment in the facility. And we were preparing her to think about moving her closer to me. She said that she needed to see it first and decide on which place she liked. My husband and I assured her of that, but we knew that if we let her go home first, we would never get her to move near us. So I did not tell her that I had already moved her things. I told her that I was driving her there just to see this new place. But my mom looked at me and said, "My things are already there, aren't they?" I had to answer truthfully. I could not lie to her because even at 100, she was still sharp as a tack. 2 days later, it was her 101st birthday, and a few friends came to celebrate at a little party. Everyone said it was the most exquisite senior residence they had ever seen. Well, it had to be. It was all of my mother's beautiful things. From then on, she kept yelling and screaming at me, complaining for days and days that I had ruined her life, and she only wanted to go home. One day, I was nervously standing there and wondering, how could I calm her down? How could I help her to realize that this is where she really needed to be? It was then that I remembered that I had moved her bookcase to that apartment. And in the bookcase, there were several Hebrew books. I took out a chumash and I put the chumash to my heart and raised my hand to God. And I swore on the Bible and before God that I want the very best for you. You are now only 5 minutes away from me. I can see you every day. This is a beautiful place where you will receive excellent attention and caring and meet other nice people. I'm not taking any of your money. I don't want it. All of your money is to give you the very best of whatever you need. None of it is for me. And perhaps you can live a long life here, a long, lovely life, no longer alone, and maybe even reach 110. I love you very much, and I want you to be well and happy and near me. And then I left. A couple of hours later, the phone rang, and I was really afraid to answer it. I thought she would start screaming at me again. But she really surprised and amazed me. She said, "Hello," in a very pleasant voice, and told me that she had just had a lovely dinner with some very other nice ladies and all the things she ate. And then she truly amazed me. She said, "I have something to tell you. I know that I have been very mean to you while I'm here, and I want to say I'm sorry and I love you." All I could say through my tears was thank you and I love you too. In her remaining days, she was a pleasure to everyone there, everyone she met, and very loving to me. And God gave me the way to reach my mother with Jewish love and conflict resolution, more peaceful way. She passed away peacefully 3.5 weeks later. That was 2013. I think of my dear, wonderful mom every single day. I have something of hers in every room of my home, her beautiful, beautiful curios, her magnificent beaded flower arrangements, and many photos. I feel her presence watching over me and taking care of me. My husband Ron and I have been coming to Temple Sinai for 35 years. We were members for 10 years and then bought tickets every year for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. When my beloved Ron passed away just a little over 2 years ago, I was sitting on a plane flying home from his funeral. It was a Thursday, and I was thinking, what do I do now? The thought came to me immediately. I think Hashem put it there. Go to Erev Shabbat at Temple Sinai. And that's just what I did. When I walked in, no one knew me because I had not been active, but I explained why I was here. And why I had come, and everyone opened their arms to hug me and welcome me. Then they brought me right over to Rabbi Aviva. She said his name for the Shloshim, the 30 days of mourning. I came back the second Friday. She said his name again for the Shloshim. I came back the third Friday, and when she said his name again for the Shloshim, I thought it was Beshert. I need to rejoin Temple Sinai. I was meant to be here again. Since that Friday night, I have never left. I came to every Shabbat and to all other functions here until COVID forced the temple building to close. Thankfully, Zoom helped all of us to stay attached and together. It's helped all of us in the whole world. We never knew about Zoom before. Temple Sinai is playing a very important part in my life. I have become active doing several things here and meeting warm and wonderful people. 2 years ago, when Rabbi Aviva posted a notice saying that she was starting a new adult bat mitzvah group, I knew that was for me. Growing up, I attended an Orthodox Hebrew day school yeshiva in Passaic, New Jersey. We were not allowed to become a bat mitzvah. We did not have that privilege, and I am now fulfilling that goal. Studying for the past 2 years and celebrating today with this bat mitzvah service is extremely important to me. I have accomplished a dream since my daughter's bat mitzvah. I want to thank so many people. I want to thank Rabbi Aviva very, very much for all of her guidance, kindness, and thoughtfulness. I want to thank Cantor Dan, who is new to us, but who has enhanced our services with his beautiful voice. I want to thank my B'not Mitzvah Bima buddies for all their friendship. And I want to thank all the members of Temple Sinai for their warm, welcoming friendship and kindness through the years. President Lynn Weinstein and co-president Betty Adams have been marvelous and help us through everything. It is my home away from home. And now I must say that I really feel my mom and my dear Ron watching over me today. Thank you all for coming and sharing in our celebration. Shabbat Shalom.
So beautiful. They're all so inspiring, each in her own way. Very, very inspiring. But wait, there's more. You didn't know you'd get so much for the price of your ticket this morning. But on Shabbat, we have an additional reading called a haftarah, not to be confused with a half a Torah. It's a unfortunate sounding word, but haftarah is actually one word that means additional or extra. And so this week's additional reading, haftarah, is on page 347 of the Red Book, the Plout books, page 347. And we're going to have a few people reading the brachot, and then Donna and Jane will read the Hebrew and a translation of the haftarah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nviim tovim v'ritzav v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo uv'inviei ha'emet v'tzedek.
Okay. Shuva Yisrael al Adonai Elohecha ki kashalta ba'onecha kuchu amachem divarim b'shvu el Adonai imru elecha Kol tisa avon v'kach tova. Unishama farim shefatenu. Ashur lo yoshishanu al sus lo nirkav. V'lo nomar od. Eloheinu l'maaseh yadayim. Asher bach Yeruchem yatom. Erpa mishuvatam ohavta nadava. Ki shav efai mimenu. Eheya tal Yisrael v'yifrach kishoshana v'yad sharshecha balvanon. Oh, the English, sorry. Return, O Israel, to the Lord your God, for you have fallen because of your sin. Take words with you and return to the Lord. Say to him, forgive all guilt and accept what is good. Instead of bulls, we will pay the offering of our lips. Assyria shall not save us. No more will we ride on steeds, nor ever again will we call our handiwork our God, since in you alone orphans find pity. I will heal their affliction. Generously will I take them back in love, for my anger has turned away from them. I will be to Israel like dew. He shall blossom like a lily. He shall strike root like a Lebanon tree.
Yelechu Yonakoto, Vihi Chazayat Hodo, Vereach Lo Kalvanon, Yoshvo, Yoshve, Vitzilo, Yichayu, Dogon, V'yifrachu Chagofen, Zikro, Kiyain Livonon, Ephraim, Mali, Od La'atzibim, Ani Oniti Va'ashurenu, Ani Kivrosh Ra'anav, Mimeni Peryecha Nimsa, Mi Chacham V'yaveh Ele, Navon V'yeda, Ki Yesharim Darchei Adonai, V'tzadikim Yelachu Vam, Ufsheim Yichashlu Vam. His boughs shall spread out far. His beauty shall be like the olive trees, his fragrance like that of Lebanon. They who sit in his shade shall be revived. They shall bring to life new grain. They shall blossom like the vine. His scent shall be like the wine of Lebanon. Ephraim shall say, what more have I to do with idols? When I respond and look to him, I become like a verdant cypress. Your fruit is provided by me. He who is wise will consider all these words. He who is prudent will take note of them. For the paths of the Lord are smooth. The righteous can walk on them, while the sinners stumble on them.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, melech haolam, tzur kol ha'alomim, tzadik bechol hadarot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer b'yoseh, hamdaber unkayim, shekol devarav, emet v'tzedek.
Al haTorah v'al ha'avodah v'al hanvi'im ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh shanatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'limnucha l'chavod Ulatifaret al haTorah Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modeh lilach umvarkim otach Yitbarak Shimka Bafi Kol Kai Tamid Leolam Vayed Baruch Atah Adonai Hashabat Hashabat Amen.
Amen. Yeshar koach. Yeshar koach. So now we're ready to put the Torah back in the ark. On page 374, we rise as the ark is opened to return the Torah.
As the ark is opened. Ki lechach tov natati lahem Torati al ta'azov Eitz chayim hi lemachazikim ba v'tom heha Meushar deracheha darchei noam v'chol netivoteha shalom hashivenu Adonai Eilecha v'nashuva Chadesh Chadesh Yameinu Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem.
Please take a seat. We have several people who are going to be coming up in a moment, but first, I would like to speak to these wonderful women and tell you all what a delight it has been working with all of you. It has been really wonderful. Susan is not here, but hopefully she'll be back by the time I get to her. So I could talk for a long time about each of these women. And usually in a bar bat mitzvah, maybe you have one or two people, in the case of twins or siblings, or if they share a bar bat mitzvah date in a place where there's many, many b'nai mitzvah. So I get to speak for a long time on each person, but I'm going to just pick one moment or idea that will stay with me about each of these wonderful women. And all of them have inspired me. I should say, for those of you who may have preteen kids at home who are complaining about having to learn all of this and feeling forced to go to religious school, each of these women took it upon themselves to put themselves through this craziness, to take this on. And actually, many of them used the word privilege or honor or blessing because it was denied to them for one reason or another. This class, unlike the previous class that I had taught, is completely all over the map in terms of their backgrounds. So we had a couple yeshiva bachers, we had a couple of yeshiva girls who knew Hebrew already, although at least one of them knew it much better with Ashkenazis pronunciation. But they didn't know some of the Judaica, and they certainly didn't have the opportunity, as they explained. And then there were others who did not know an aleph from a bet, and there were women all the way in between. And somehow we became a cohort. This became a real class. They congealed and fit in with one another. And those who knew more Hebrew helped those who knew less, and it was wonderful. So First, Jane, you are a model of bravery to me because you took that courageous step to come to the temple after your husband Ron had passed away, not only to come here, but to really become involved in the temple, to throw yourself in and to throw yourself into this process so soon. And I hope it has become something that feels supportive and beautiful in your process of grieving, that you also felt supported. And so you are a model of courage in that way. Andy, when I first gave you your Torah portion, I gave you just, I think, 3 verses. And you said, I can do the 4th one. I can do that last verse. Please add it. You know, I had given you, I think it was 3, and then you asked for another one. And I gave you the other one. And sure enough, not only did you rise to the occasion, you sang it beautifully. You are very humble about your singing voice, but it is beautiful and you just shone through. So you are a model of taking on more and doing well, rising to the occasion. I'm doing this in alphabetical order by last name. Donna. So Donna, you came from a yeshiva background and you are a natural teacher. I have seen you with the others and you are just wonderful in how you explain things. Your humility about your background. It's not that you wear it on your sleeve and you say, this is who I know this. You may have known some of the things that I was teaching, but you never said, oh, I know this already, or can we skip ahead? You were right in there with us and helped me actually as one of my right-hand women helping the others. So I really appreciate that. A wonderful model of a teacher. And Susan, she'll hear this later. Susan went through this even though she was going through a major recovery from a major break, a very painful pelvic break, just very recently. And she insisted, I am going to be there no matter what. She wanted to be able to come up on the bima, but that proved a little bit too difficult. And so she came in the wheelchair, but absolutely persisted through the pain meds and learned everything that she needed to learn and then just shone through today. And she is a beautiful woman inside and out. Ellen, you were perhaps the most nervous. I can say this now because she was so poised up here, but I will tell you in every confidence that she was very nervous about this day, did not feel confident about her Hebrew at all. And she rose to this occasion. She didn't even need a cheat sheet with anything. She had written it out all phonetically so that she would have it there just in case. And she read it perfectly from the Torah. So she is a model of poise and dignity and also rising to the occasion. And I think also some of that poise with the two of you is because of your acting background. Both Andy and Ellen have acted in theater, yes, and it shows. And last but not least, Sue. So you took on much more than whatever we were learning. I joke with her that she's going to become a rabbi next, that I have to be careful for my job security because she's on her way. But really, she has learned so much. She even does Daf Yomi, which is a page a day of Talmud. She goes online and people all over the world are studying this together. And again, all of these women are very humble. She doesn't brag about it at all, but this is a major, I've never done this as a rabbi. I would love to do this. It's a 7-year process to go through every single page of the Talmud, all of the whole set of Talmud, 1 page a day, and it takes 7 years. So she decided to take that on and has taken that on and a lot more learning. And she has kept me on my toes because she does always have questions for me. And that's really what Judaism is about, is to continue to question. So these women are all models of lifelong learning and youth, real youth, as I said, because it takes a youthful attitude, that to say, I'm going to do something completely new. And it was wonderful that you did so. Okay, so now I would like to call up the previous cohort, who are Betty Adams, Andrea Goldberg, June Knopf, Chris Meiselman, Stephanie Rabb, and Barbara Walsh to present this cohort with their certificates.
Hello, everybody. I am Betty Adams, the co-president of Temple Sinai, along with Lynn Weinstein. And I have to tell these ladies that watching the six of you over these many months, because Lynn and I are here a lot, we've watched them learning and studying and planning, and that brought back some beautiful memories. In May of 2019, the six of us, I can't believe we're all here today. It's amazing that we're all here. The six of us stood on this bema together for a day of pure joy. Andrea Goldberg, June Knopf, Christiane Meiselman, Barbara Walsh, Stephanie Rabb, and me. And we named ourselves the Road Trip Sisters because we looked upon our adult B'nai Mitzvah as just one stop on our spiritual road trip. We have stayed in touch for the most part and explored our Judaism together, although sometimes life gets in the way for weeks and months, but we know we'll come back together eventually. And your group, the Bema Buddies, has conquered so many obstacles that we didn't have. That makes your accomplishments as a group and individually even more impressive. So all of us Road Trip Sisters wish all of you Bema Buddies the biggest mazel tov. We are so honored to be able to present you with your beautiful certificates. And I'm going to just read one and show you how beautiful they are. They really came out beautifully. Good job, Rabbi. And these certificates are given on behalf of the Board of Trustees of Temple Sinai and our entire congregation. This certificate affirms the accomplishments of all of these ladies to study and the commitment to study and uphold Torah, spreading its light to others. May this be one of many milestones in both Jewish study and action. And come join us on our road trip if you want. You will be presented. Oh, okay, this is Jane's. Jane's in another place and time, we would all hug you, but I just don't think we're all going to do that today. Andy Dinsky. Thank you for labeling them, Rabbi. Oh, thank you for labeling Judith. Donna Lopater. I'll chase her. It's Donna. Susan, I will bring yours down to you with honor. Ellen Rose. Ellen Rose, who said she could never do this a few months ago, and wow. Sue Wexler. Where are you? There you are. And Susan, I will be very honored to bring yours down to you. Thank you, ladies, for giving us a wonderful reason to come today and be together, and keep going.
I am so proud to see all of these women whom I have gotten to know through this process. It's been wonderful. It's great to see you again. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to lead the concluding prayers of our service, starting with the Aleinu on page 586, and we rise as the ark is once more opened for the Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, lateit gerula leotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kigoye haratzon, velo samanu kemishpechot adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, V'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth as we ready ourselves to recite the Mourner's Kaddish. As I gesture around the room, please raise your hand if you are thinking of someone today, either because you are observing a yahrzeit, an anniversary of someone's passing, or if you yourself are in a time of mourning. So please raise your hand as I gesture if you want to say that. Did I get everyone? Oh, sorry. Did I get everyone? So for all of those whom we have named, as well as all of those who were murdered in the Shoah, we rise in solidarity with mourners everywhere as we recite the Mourner's Kaddish. The Mourner's Kaddish may be found on page 598. 598. Please recite with me. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah be'alma divarach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael ba'agala u'v'zman kariv imru amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudusha barichu le'elah min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata da'amiran ba'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom mimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort all who are bereaved among us. And let us all say, Amen. Please take a seat. Before our closing song, because of COVID and the fact that we're not having a group oneg, we're going to make Kiddush and Motzi on the bima. So. All right. I can't get to the, okay, you'll hear me through this microphone. Okay, we raise our cups and say Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen. L'chaim.
Aye.
The sweet stuff again.
Oh, yeah.
And now for Motzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz Shabbat shalom.
It is real. I didn't know if it was a dummy challah, but it is real. Okay, and we're going to end with a song I think you all know, which is a hallelujah. This hallelujah is by Leonard Cohen, but we're going to use the words from Psalm 150. So if you want to turn to page 218 in your Siddur, you can sing along with that, and please sing hallelujah, even if you don't know the rest of the words. 218.
Hallelujah. 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 El bekocho. Hallelujah. Bekiauso. Hallelujah. Bigvurotav. Hallelujah, Kerov Gulo. Hallelujah, Beteka Shofar. Hallelujah, Beneva Vechinor. Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah, betofu machol. Hallelujah, beminim ve'ogav. Hallelujah, betzilzalei shama. Hallelujah, betzilzalei trua. Kol anshama tehallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Maybe a Siman Tova Mazel Tov.
Ay, Semen
Tov.
Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Semen Tov, Semen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Semen Tov, Semen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Semen Tov, Yehelanu, 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 Ulecho Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulecho Yisrael. Well, I gotta do lots of things.
Okay, so the microphone's on here. Should be able to, let me turn the volume up a little bit.
He can't live up to his blessing.
Okay, let me unmute everybody. Ask all to unmute. And then let's see if we turn everybody's video on.
Mazel tov, Mom.
Participants to start their video. And we can just.
I just spoke up.
His life.
But
Hello.
Mazel tov. Mazel tov, Mom.
Hey, Donna, Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
Let's see, ask to start video. Right here.
Pablo Hayden,
Mazel tov to everyone.
Josh.
We've got everybody here.
Hey guys.
Okay.
Hey, Donna.
Hi, Mom.
Hi.
Mazel tov.
Hi, Lee. Mazel tov to all those wonderful women.
Anybody else to turn on their video?
Zach.
Hi.
Can they hear you? Ask if they can you hear
Yeah,
us?
can you hear me?
Hear you, Mom.
Yes.
I can hear you.
Yes.
Here's
Zoom's
Zach.
not detecting a camera right now, but I'm here.
Let me see if they're hearing us. Their input is a microphone issues.
They're muted.
And become direct, not crooked.
Are they hearing us?
Can you hear us?
Do you hear us?
Yes.
Yes.
They are, okay.
Okay.
We think sometimes that receiving a blessing is just being the recipient of some beautiful words. Many people think that a blessing is saying.
I can hear you. I can't.
There's something talking in the background, though.
Hearing praise.
I hear that, but it's not here.
Sometimes we think.
Oh, my great-granddaughter is there. Oh, Michelle.
That's going to
Okay.
Okay.
We have to make ourselves.
We got baby.
Baby here.
Say hi, Safta. Say Mazel
there
tov,
she is.
Safta.
Michelle. Okay. I think we're all
Ask if
together,
they can.
even though it's on Zoom. I am so thrilled you joined me today. I really am. And I want to mention every one of you, my family. There's Lisa, John, Josh, Adam, Tristan, Bob, Marla, Matt, Zach, Stephen, wait a minute. Leah and Sammy and maybe Arlene, I don't know. And then all the locators, including Beth Sam. Thank you so much for this lovely attendance. I'm very excited. And we'll see you all soon.
The sun went down.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Mom. Mazel tov. Yasher koach.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
I don't know if anybody else wants. Anybody else want to come on? I don't know if anybody else.
I think the message is clear.
Just wait, see if anybody else.
And I hope and I pray on this Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom to the fam. See you guys soon.
Hey, guys. Good seeing you all.
See you later.
This particular
We should do this every month or so.
Yeah,
Could be fun.
every so often.
Yep.
Love you guys.
See you later.
Everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
be worthy of Him and live them out in our lives. And so
I don't know how to do this.
make them true.
Am I doing this right?
One minute.
Sing through the mass. Sing.
I can't get rid of this.
meeting.
This is Howard, my friend Anita, 54 years of friend. Eight years in